and good evening. Welcome to Reality Hour. I'm Adam Samuel. Today, it's another episode. We're talking about the X Factor and the Masked Singer. We were not around last week, so this time we are pulling double duty. We are going to be covering both weeks with much more of a focus on the most recent episodes. We will get into all of it, and joining me for the podcast is my co-host Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I am doing good. I was in Seattle this week, and then earlier today, we're taping this Saturday, I saw Jeremiah Lynn Harmon, and I got chills when he performed Almost Heaven. So, legitimate chills. But anyway, let's talk about the shit show that was X Factor, shall we? That was and is and continues to be X Factor Celebrity.
So we're going to structure this how we usually do. We'll talk about the X Factor and the Masked Singer at the end. I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of bundle them into two sections. So we'll kind of go over the big points of the X Factor, then we'll talk about the recent episode, then the Masked Singer. We'll kind of just put it together as one.
Yeah.
So the biggest news is actually the X Factor just finished airing about 2 hours ago, at least from the time that we're filming this. And I have a bit of a thing to admit because once an episode airs, the first place I usually go to, because I usually check once the show's over, is to Twitter. And the first post that I saw was the results. And for a second, I didn't recognize Megan. And I thought she went home.
Oh my god.
And I was staring at her, and I was like, oh my god. And then
you would have heard a lot more from me if she went home.
But for like a second, and I was like, oh my god, did that really? And then I scrolled down and I was like, okay, crisis averted.
Yeah, not like crisis averted. I think we got out of the. Assuming Victoria couldn't be in the Final Four, we got the right Final Four.
I think these 2 weeks were really subpar. More so, I will say this is another week where I feel like the Masked Singer was better than the X Factor.
Yes, again, but
and quite a bit, which is a little bit unfair because you have Patti LaBelle and Chris Daughtry, and it's a bit lopsided. But yeah, the talent, and there were some of the comments that the judges were standing for people and they weren't standing for Megan, and I was just, they stood for Vinny. They stood for Vinny and not Megan.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's
They stood for Megan. They stood for Megan both weeks.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I thought
they stood more enthusiastically for Vinny, which is still stupid.
Are we now measuring by enthusiasm of when they stand?
How often they stand, what time they stand, and how long they stay standing for are what matters.
I think it's all like for show. There's no meaning behind it. It's just at this point everyone gets standing ovations. You get a standing ovation. It's you know how it is.
It's the Oprah Winfrey thing. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
For most of the performances from the first week, I just want to give like a sentence long thought about them.
Before we do, I have one last thing I kind of want to touch on before we kind of get into the performances. So when we podcasted last, we lost the prince of the X Factor UK. We lost Martin, and you said on the podcast that you would be naming a Pokemon in the upcoming game that you got. So how is Martin doing currently on the team?
Martin is sitting in his box at level 17, and he will never evolve.
What is he?
Of course he's a Magikarp. We already talked about it. You know this. He's level 17. He will never be level 18, 19, or 20. He will never evolve into anything useful.
It's a little harsh. I would have put like a Zigzagoon or something.
Whatever.
Maybe he could be like well, they don't even have HMs anymore. Anyway, let's I apologize for that tangent. Let's get into these performances. So, like I said, we are going to kind of
I want to do a sentence on each of them except for Megan and for we'll talk about Kevin a bit.
Well, let's talk about the big headline I feel from the first X Factor show, which was we lose Kevin McHale. And Eric's not surprised, but I kind of was. I thought he had talent we had, I thought he was better.
I was not surprised. What did surprise me was how he lost it. Did you hear about this?
Why don't you tell us?
Okay, so you didn't hear about this, did you?
I did. I did. I just
making sure you heard. So Kevin and Vinny Jones are in the bottom two. Vinny offers to withdraw so that Kevin can go forward. And Simon says, "No, Vinny, fuck you. You're staying here. We pay you too much money for you to quit, and you're staying here. And Kevin's going home
I love how like they framed it.
against his will."
They like framed it as a surprise elimination, but it's not a surprise elimination when it's up to the judge. Like the point of judges voting, I feel like should eliminate the entirety of surprise eliminations. Isn't that the point of it?
In theory, it's more so that actually they can actually push the joke out a bit further. It seems.
Yeah, but like
if the show was done right, you're right that judges voting would get rid of the shock boots.
On the note of the show doing things right, I feel like these 2 episodes for it were kind of. It didn't feel like the contestants were actually performing like their own run. You know what I mean? They weren't. It was kind of everything about it just felt like they were given the song, they were given the production. I feel like it wasn't the contestants actually performing themselves. They're kind of just doing what the producers are kind of telling them to, and that's not as fun to watch.
Yeah.
Am I what's the meme? Like old man who yells at trees or something?
Well, it's more like that. You should have been yelling at that last year, or the year before, because it's always been that. Anyway, let's just talk about. I was going to give my 1-sentence thoughts on each of the performances from week 1.
All right, let's hear it.
Max and Harvey. Problematic song choice because Brendan Urie has an amazing voice and they don't. And they do a backflip. Good for them. Kevin McHale. This is probably the gayest thing I've ever seen on TV, and not in a good way. I mean, I couldn't hear anything. The backing track was cranked so high I could barely hear him singing. This might be controversial, but apart from Vinny, Kevin was the one I would have sent home that week.
Where is this coming from? Like everyone, I thought Kevin was kind of a bigger voting threat. Honestly, like I
never thought he was. He was an American on a British TV show.
Does that really make that much of a difference?
Yes, it does. Anyway, moving on. V5, they performed Bang Bang, which is becoming up there with Come Together and I Have Nothing on as far as overdone songs on X Factor. Vinny was bad. Really,
I loved
bad.
It. I loved this Vinny performance.
Talked his way through it, and he saw people with chicken masks on stage. I wrote in my recap, this is what I was afraid Masked Singer would be when I started watching that show this season.
Eric, he fought the law and the law won.
Oh my god.
I love how when I was scrolling through on the YouTube channel with all the videos, the thumbnail, the title for the video is Vinny Jones our greatest punk singer? And when I read that, like a small part of me like died.
Yeah.
It was already dying, but like that was the final blow. Like the coroner kind of pronounced it.
Yep. Okay. Now I want to touch a little bit more on Megan. I loved the original song, When I'm Crying. It's my favorite one she's done so far, actually. I love that it was actually mostly a cappella the entire performance. Pretty much, wasn't it?
I feel like Megan is she's really, really good. Like, she deserves to win. I feel, though, a little bit that we're maybe getting into Pia Toscano territory, if you know what I mean.
I would agree with that if we had more time in the season, but we don't, and people aren't tired of her yet, so she's going to win.
Yeah, but I feel like it's beautiful. Like, she sings fabulously, but it's kind of starting to feel like the same thing every week, if you know what I mean.
I don't care at this point. I'd much rather her do the same thing than Vinny do the same thing every week.
Is she going to go she hasn't done an up-tempo. Is this just going to be her? Has that ever happened? Have we seen like someone just
do the same thing every week? Yes, we've seen several people do that. Scotty McCreery, Caleb Johnson.
No, I would disagree. Scotty at least went up tempo, and he.
Fine, whatever. We can disagree.
All right.
Anyway, so I thought Megan was great. I was Jenny was weird. Um,
Very
and
weird.
and TriStar was the second gayest thing I've ever seen on X Factor, behind Kevin. Literally just Magic Mike on stage.
Can we talk a little bit more about Jenny Ryan? Like, what was that? What is it on her hair?
Euphoria, the first week or second week?
The first week. We're
Yeah.
still in the first week.
Yeah. I don't remember her hair.
She's like wearing a crown, but it's like
The trees. That was a weird performance.
only thing weirder than the show are some of these like costume decisions. But for me, I wrote in my notes of Jenny, like she's just a contestant she's like a wide-eyed, like dreaming, like a dreamer. Like, I'm gonna climb to the top of the mountain, watch me go, and then she like takes a few steps, slides down, like takes another few steps, and falls flat on her face. Like she's just trying to go for these things that are so ridiculously huge, and she just can never.
Yeah, basically.
Like I almost a little bit root for her just because. Oh, you almost had it. It's like she's getting there. She's trying, but it's just that's all I can say for her.
Okay. Anyway, we're done with week 1 of X Factor. I would say that result was.
There is
ridiculous.
one thing I do
What?
actually want to talk about.
What?
So Vinny, in his Save Me performance, does something on paper I would love brought on to other shows and contestants. I think for the first time that I've been watching a show live, he performed a song entirely a cappella.
Okay.
Has that ever happened on the X Factor?
Yes, it happened with Megan earlier that episode.
That episode?
When I'm crying.
No, not entirely.
It was damn close.
No, but it was like it was like Kumbaya feel. It was the music like a tiny bit reminded me like of a campfire song, and I kind of liked it, and I wish more contestants would go a cappella. That's all I'm saying.
All I can say is that he's the wrong contestant to make sing a cappella.
Exactly. Like I wrote that. It's the perfect idea, the wrong contestant.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would almost have it. How would you feel about this idea that the Save Me performances should just be a cappella?
You see, on paper, I like that idea, but only if everyone can actually sing. And they all can.
Because it reveals too much. It's like, don't look behind the curtain.
No, it's more like I have to suffer through it for some of them. I don't want to do that. So, anywho.
Let's move on to
this
week's episode. So this week, for this episode, we are going to do a deep dive. We'll go over all the contestants. There's not that many left. There's only 6 at this point, so it shouldn't be. I mean,
a bit too long.
So kicking off the night. Well, actually, before the performances, this was one of my favorite moments of both shows, where Dermot, the host, he says, "No wild card." No thoughts?
Yeah, no thoughts. I didn't really watch that part.
So Simon Cowell lost.
Evidently, he lost the debate. Anyway.
All right. Anyway, TriStar, they're performing. Oh, God. Oh, no. Don't make me say it, Eric. The Greatest Showman strikes again. It's always gonna make an appearance. Simon Cowell will never let us forget it. Although, at least it's like the song that still hasn't become entirely stale yet, but it's really close. Like, This Is Me and Never Enough are far into staleness, but this song is kind of right on the border, Eric.
It's about to be. It will be. If Simon has anything to say about it, it will be stale by the end of this next year. Anywho.
I will admit, I kind of like this song. Like, it's still...
I like all 3 of the songs, but I'm sick of them.
All right. What'd you think of the performance?
Well, the good news for them is that they were drowned out by the backing vocalists. And that was good because they can't really sing so well. And I think I heard one of them screw up the lyrics at one point. Yeah.
I came away from this whelmed, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed. Like, it happened.
Yeah.
Like, it happened,
Very
and
well.
then I totally forgot about it. But I watched it back. Wasn't saying that great. C-.
C- is more is much more so just whelmed. Whelmed to me is a C+.
I don't think it was that good. No? What about you? What would your grade be?
My grade would be like a D+.
All right. Well, let's move on.
I mean, if I'm grading the one of them who can sing, it's more like a C+, B-. But the other two are both like D-, so they bring it down. Anyway.
Jenny Ryan. Skyfall.
Oh my god.
This is another case. Like I said, she's looking at the big mountain and she's like, I'm gonna climb that, and she takes like a few steps, falls down, takes another, and then falls on her face. Like and right over there, there's like right next to her, there's an easier hill, but she's gonna climb Mount Son of a Bitch. Like it's, she's like, I'm gonna climb it. You know what I mean?
Okay. By the way, we have their episode title.
What did you think about it?
Plain and simple, the song's too big for her. That's literally that simple. And she's not Adele. I mean, parts of it were fine. Parts of it were pretty damn awful. I mean, but it was not gonna be good because the song is not for her.
It's too damn big. It's Simon Cowell wanting her to be Adele, and she's just not. She's not an A+ sing. Simon is trying to masquerade her as like this A+ vocalist when really I'm being generous here, a C+ vocalist.
Yeah.
Like I said, I admire her attempt. Like, you're going for it, you go for it. But no, didn't really work. Right?
Right.
All right. So, let's move on and talk about Max and Harvey. They are performing Kiss You by One Direction. Not my favorite performance of theirs, Eric. What did you think?
Well, first of all, this is not a movie song. This is a song that appeared in their concert movie.
Oh, that doesn't count.
You're damn right it doesn't count. So it's not a movie song.
Simon Cowell just wanted them to do it.
Yep. And what I will say is they are better singers than Louis Tomlinson and maybe Niall. But
wow, that's pretty harsh.
That's a low bar.
I thought it was all right. I mean, they jump around on stage. I did
Very
find
high,
it a little
very high energy. But
I did kind of find it funny that they have these like people who kind of just run on stage and like they're like, we're having fun, that means you should be having fun. Like I feel like that's what they all need to be wearing, like signs like, look how much fun we're having, that's why you should be having fun. Yeah, and I feel that doesn't translate really. Right. And then they had the same group of people kind of come out later on in the show. I don't remember. I think it was for V5. One of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, it's the same people. They just change clothes.
Sometimes I don't even think they do that.
I don't even know, but for them too, I'm whelmed. Like yeah, it's a C+ for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't. There's nothing here. It's just kind of, it happened, and yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's move on. We got to talk about, for the final time, Vinnie Jones. He's performing I've Had the Time of My Life. I feel like he was singing it to us. Like I felt through the TV, like he had a good time up there, and you know what, I believe that he very much enjoyed his time on the X Factor, Eric.
Glad someone did.
I mean, like, he's just, how did he get this far? How is he in the top 6 when Victoria wasn't here? And you can make fun, but Kevin should have been here over him.
Oh, absolutely. I think that Kevin should have been saved over Vinny. I'm saying that if anyone but Vinny had to go, I would have sent home Kevin last week. Kevin was 6th, Vinny was 7th. Anywho,
I mean, the thing is, without Vinny...
At the start of this, it was dreadful. As the band kicked in, I don't know how, but it got worse. I don't know how that's possible. But I wrote, if he survives this week, it'll be a travesty. Even the dance break in the middle wasn't particularly good.
It was also weird. Why is he dancing with the woman? Like,
I don't know.
Like, well, I'm just like, what am I watching? And I'm kind of upset.
The other thing I tweeted during this point, the moment Simon stood up for this performance was the precise moment. You can pinpoint it. This is the moment where X Factor jumped the shark.
There were a lot of those. I haven't watched this show that many seasons, but I feel like there were a lot of those this season.
Oh, there are several more, but this is never one of them. I know you're only supposed to be able to jump the shark once, but X Factor's jumped it several times and it's now doing loop-de-loops around the shark.
It's kind of, the one thing I will say is upsetting for me, because now that we've lost Vinny, I don't think I'm going to be able to give any contestants F minuses anymore. This is the last one. And I hope I don't have to give them again. I mean...
We'll see what song choice they saddle Jenny with next week.
Oh, God. What would your grade have been for this? I want to hear.
For Jenny? For this? You know what? I'll be generous and give it a D minus.
Not an F minus.
It was bad. It wasn't F minus bad. F minus it means that you have forgot the words.
And are apologizing during the performance.
Yeah, that's an F minus. This wasn't bad.
All right. Well,
it was bad, but it wasn't that bad.
Well, I almost forgot to mention this theme for this episode was movie night. Which ironically enough, the biggest change is that we get for the first time this season a song that's not an original from Megan. It's
obviously because she can't. Her songs haven't been in the movie yet.
Yes. So she's singing "It Must Have Been Love." Who's this by, Eric?
I don't know.
All right, and it's beautiful. Like, there's no question. Like, it's just head and shoulders above everyone else, and by more than a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, Eric?
Didn't like the song as much as her originals, but you put her right after Vinny, and I'm just gonna be overblown happy that someone actually can sing. So it's that simple. The fact that she could sing at all and stay on key and hit big notes and deliver a subtle, competent performance, gold star. That's where we're at.
I will say, if she does not win this season,
then who wins?
Then not only is it like a huge tragedy, but it is perfectly fitting for this season. Like, she comes in second to Jenny.
No, Jenny's not winning. If anyone wins besides, if Megan doesn't win, it's Max and Harvey.
And that's still really bad.
Oh, it is.
Like, really bad.
Yes.
That's like Lazaro Arbos beating Angie Miller in a finale.
No, it's not that bad. And actually, no, it's worse than that.
It's worse than that.
Because I didn't like Angie, and I really didn't like Lazaro.
All right. Well.
Anyway.
It's so unbalanced. It's not even funny. But for that reason, I'm almost starting to get to the point like I was with Victoria, that she is so the deserving winner that I'm starting to think that she won't win.
She's gonna win. Enjoy your crown next week.
Who's left in the draft? Who?
I don't know. You already won, so you won the second we did the coin flip.
I had Olivia, Megan, and Kevin.
Okay. Well, you won. You got the one that mattered.
All right. We got one more performance to talk about. It is V5 doing September. Actually, ironically enough, there were two September performances between the X Factor and the Masked Singer. Personally, this is not a song to sing. Like it's not a performing song. You know what I mean? There's
Here's
not
what
much.
I'll say. I've heard one person who can sing this song live. One. And it's actually a singer from a local band that I like. They're really good. But other than him, no one should ever sing this song live.
There's just nothing to do with it. Like
No, it's not that there's nothing to do with it. It's that no one could pull off a falsetto for that long.
I mean, yeah, like you can't.
That's the problem. You can't pull it off. It's impossible to pull it off. The good news for these girls is that they didn't have to pull it off because the chorus, which is the hard part, was all lip sung. So I guess it wasn't that bad.
That's the season. Oh wait.
No, the season was that bad. I'm sorry. The season as a whole was that bad. But
all right. Well, we get to the results, and like we said, Vinny, he's gone. Then we got V5 and TriStar in the showdown, and we lose TriStar. And
I was shocked.
We're shocked that they got it right.
I was blown away that they made the right choice.
Yeah.
And that not only did Nicole vote right, Simon voted right. I was blown away.
I feel like if we were to toss Jenny and put in Victoria, that would be the right top four.
Absolutely.
So 3 out of 5, 3 out of whatever isn't that bad.
Isn't terrible. I mean, the road to this point was a fucking slog, but
I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I mean, it was I won't forget it, is what I will say.
Yeah, I will definitely remember this season of X Factor, unfortunately. For all the wrong reasons, I will remember this season forever.
Can you imagine if Megan doesn't win?
God, I don't want to think about that.
Okay.
She's charted on iTunes. All the judges know she's going to win. They're not doing anything to slow her down or stop her. She's going to win. And the reason a group is not going to win, and Max and Harvey's the only act that could win, Simon doesn't care if they win because X Factor of a band starts right afterwards. Where Simon's going to put together an actual group that he cares about.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's that. Well, the good news is that can't be worse than this. So, I mean, it can't be worse.
All right. Let's switch gears now. We've dug the hole for the X Factor. Let's kind of go back to ironically the better. I think it's the better show, honestly. Like I gotta say, I enjoyed it more.
Me too. Anyway.
So let's talk about the Masked Singer. Let's kind of how about we, instead of kind of going through the performances, let's kind of sum it up with the 3 big moments of these 2 episodes. So I feel like the headline for me, the biggest moment to come out is today we answered a question that if Chris Daughtry and Patti LaBelle were put into a musical boxing ring, who would win? And apparently Chris Daughtry will, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that because I like Chris Daughtry a lot. But Patty should have made the finale at least.
That's not even like I am a huge Chris Daughtry fan. Like I enjoy his music.
I think that if they were the top 2 and everyone else had already gone home, I would have been totally happy with that result. But they weren't the top 2 yet.
How does go on?
She didn't even make the finale. How? Why?
How does the format work for the finale? Are we going into the finale now? Is that where we're at?
No, we had so we have 2 halves of contestants. We got from 5 to 3 on one half. Now we have to get from 5 to 3 on the other half.
And then it's finale.
No, then we'll have 6. Then we'll go from 6 to before, I think. I don't know. We
Oh.
have several weeks left.
Oh. Hooray.
I know. That's fantastic.
All right. So I feel like that was kind of the big moment. It's kind of absurd, but what would you say for you was one of the bigger moments of the episodes?
I also want to talk about Chris's 2 performances. I thought they were both really great.
Correct. Yeah, he's doing 2 performances. Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran. I think it's Castle on the Hill. I don't remember. And Grenade by Bruno Mars. And it's awesome. It's really
Castle
awesome.
on the Hill was the best performance I've ever seen on Masked Singer. It was actually shockingly the most subtle performance I've ever seen on Masked Singer. Which, he's still in a dog suit, but, who cares?
I think from a personal standpoint, I would say it's my favorite performance of both these shows for this season.
Yeah, me too.
Wow, more than Megan? I wasn't expecting.
Of course more than Megan. It's Chris Daughtry. I like Megan, but I'm not like that. No, Chris Daughtry's Castle on the Hill was the best performance of both seasons so far.
Yeah, and Grenade's
up there.
Is there a world where he doesn't win?
Yes.
Patti LaBelle and Chris Daughtry do not win. That's absurd to me.
I am praying that he does win. He should win. He deserves to win. And they haven't guessed him yet, which is a good sign, I think. So.
All right. I do kind of want to. There is kind of another big thing that happened on The Masked Singer that I think we should talk about. I think Eric's going to have a little bit more to say than I will because I'm not as familiar. But we actually had a guest judge appearing. Why don't you tell us who it was, Eric?
Triumph the Insult Comic Dog from Conan O'Brien.
So who is he?
By far one of my favorite recurring Conan segments was when they would set up the Triumph the Insult Comic Dog and Robert Smigel, who holds the puppet, to random places like a Star Wars movie premiere or the debate for election, and he would just insult everybody. It was fantastic. Greatest choice for a guest judge ever, because the show itself, the judges aren't serious on this show. I mean, if they are, they're terrible. I'm hoping they're not serious. I'm hoping that Ken doesn't actually think that anyone's Bjork. Because if he does, then he's a complete moron.
Didn't you say once, someone say that they thought one of the singers was Michelle Obama or something? There was some absurd, really ridiculous
You know what? So Triumph just made those ridiculous guesses, and I loved every second of it. He said one of the people was the Olsen twins, both of them.
The thing is, I feel like the difference between these shows is that The Masked Singer is kind of like in on the ridiculousness. Like they know it's a ridiculous show and they're kind of going in. And the X Factor is kind of pretending, no, we're not. We're a serious show, but it's kind of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, basically.
And I'm enjoying The Masked Singer. Like it's ridiculous.
I will say, any show that puts Triumph the Insult Comic Dog as a guest judge just so he can insult Robin Thicke and Ken Jeong for an hour is a good show in my book.
I enjoyed the segment where he's talking with Chris Daughtry.
And he's like, and I'm gonna make sure that Ken signs it so it's worth less.
Like that's just good entertainment. Let's talk really quickly also about the reveals. So we had Patti LaBelle, and we also had the Ladybug revealed as one of the Osbournes. Which one?
I think Kelly. I don't know.
Yeah, it was Kelly. I gotta say though, like pretty big gets for the season. Like they got some big names.
Big names. You know why they got big names?
Money.
Last season was a huge success.
Yeah, like really big names. Like
Wayne Brady is one of them, probably.
Who do you think's the Leopard?
The Leopard is Wayne Brady, I think, right?
No, isn't that? People think he's Seal, but I don't think he's Seal.
Okay, one of them is Seal. Who knows?
I don't know, but I guess that's kind of all to say from The Masked Singer. Do you have any other kind of big points you want to touch on?
Daughtry for the win. That's about it.
Who's your prediction? Who's going to win?
If you hold a gun to my head, I would actually say Daughtry is going to win. I'm a Daughtry or Wayne Brady.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to say I am Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at AdamSoapbox. Run the 2 websites, AdamSoapbox.com and AdamCVblog.com. Eric, where can we find you?
ericascher.com, Eric Ascher, Eric Ascher on Twitter, and on YouTube I have a new URL, but I just uploaded Jeremiah's 2 songs from today, and you can find the URL in the comments.
All right.
Let's get me to those 100 subscribers so I can get a nice channel name again.
Yeah. We also have to officially declare if our channel is child appropriate because of this whole new COPPA or whatever it is.
I think this episode's title is going to settle that for us.
Climbing Mount Son of a Bitch.
Yep.
All right, guys, this was fun. Hope you'll join us for next time. Keep the insanity going.
Crown next week. Bye.
Bye.